of things. Let's see, I'm having a hard time finding insurance. Any advice? Yes, and that's something that we're involved with right now too, trying to find insurance, because I know Amazon in their guidelines state that after you record 3 consecutive months of over $10,000 in sales, it's important for you to get liability insurance for all the items that you're storing at Amazon FBA. And I think this might be a good idea for a future blog post. But there's already some good information out there about finding. You have to get insured for $1 million. You have to be insured for $1 million for to cover you for loss and damages and stuff. There's ways that you can call insurance companies and ask them. I know Wells Fargo has a specific branch of insurance. I don't remember all of the details off the top of my head, so this is something I'm just going to have to look up later and maybe put into a blog post. But there is information out there. I know Ryan Grant in his website, The Online Selling Experiment, has a blog post that's really helpful about insurance. So that you can look into that and get some more information, and we'll put together a blog post too, just from my perspective. Wells Fargo said they wouldn't insure you. Okay, there's different branches of Wells Fargo, and you want to be asking for limited liability insurance, it's weird. There's different companies that decide, hey, we're going to insure these people today, and then the next day they're like, okay, we're not insuring people like that anymore, and someone else is. So it's hard to give you advice right now, just simply because I don't know who's saying yes right now, but there are people who are saying yes, so it just takes time. Again, Ryan Grant in his website, onlinesellingexperiment.com, he has a blog post. You can search just the word insurance, and you should be able to find it. He has a lot of good information there, so check it out. Let's see, I'm 95% books. Perhaps I should just drop the few grocery and beauty that I do. Yeah, I guess this is a follow-up to being how frustrating grocery and beauty. Online Selling Experiment.com is Ryan's website. Online Selling Experiment, and so that's that. But yeah, grocery and health and beauty seem to be frustrating. Frustrating first, getting ungated in those areas. You know what? Amazon really doesn't. They don't just want anybody to be selling items that are as important as things that people ingest or rub all over their body. They want to make sure that people who are selling grocery items and health and beauty items, that those are protected. But yeah, there are some people who say, there are some companies that say they won't insure you if you are selling health and beauty products. They won't insure you for selling groceries. Some people say they won't insure you if you're selling vitamins. It's really tricky. And so yeah, if you're not able to find a company that can insure you, you might decide to, just so that you can continue with your Amazon FBA and take advantage of the other categories, that you drop those categories so you can get some insurance, because Amazon wants to be sure that you are insured for those things. It's to protect them, it's to protect you, and it's something that you really need to do. And once you hit $10,000 in sales a month, that shows Amazon that you're in this, and you need to take the step to get insurance. So again, just select and copy your question before you hit send. Registering cosmetics is very, very expensive. I bet it is. Okay, let me see some more questions. I might have missed something. Should I be insuring my shipments through UPS? Just started FBA, so still unsure. You do not need to be doing any special insurance for the shipments that you send to Amazon FBA if you are using Amazon partnered shipping. Amazon partnered shipping is through UPS, and they automatically take care of all of that. If something is damaged when you ship it to Amazon through Amazon partnered shipping through UPS, UPS takes care of it and reimburses Amazon. Amazon reimburses you. At least they're supposed to. You want to always make sure, reconcile all of your, shipments to make sure everything arrived in good condition and all that. But you do not need to have any specialized insurance with shipping with Amazon Partner Shipping through UPS. Now, if you decide to ship through UPS on your own, or if you decide to use USPS or any other FedEx on your own, and then the insurance, that I guess you would probably need to get insurance for that. But I don't know why anybody wouldn't choose UPS, because their shipping rates are amazing. I mean, I could ship a box this big for like $10, and with Amazon partnered rates, it's crazy. So it's something that you should look into. What item do you prefer to merchant fulfill rather than FBA? That's a really good question. So the items that I'll merchant fulfill are usually the small, lightweight items, and items that usually if they're time-sensitive items, like I'll merchant fulfill some Christmas items right before Christmas. I might merchant fulfill some special toys maybe a week or two before Christmas, because I know it won't get to Amazon in time, be checked in, and then become available to purchase on Amazon. So I might merchant fulfill those. And then yeah, small or lightweight items, sometimes it's more profitable to sell at merchant fulfilled. Now, I send all my stuff to Amazon FBA anyway, because it's because I just want to not have to deal with any of the hassle. Even though I could probably make more money selling it merchant fulfilled, I realize the time that I save is worth more than the money I make by selling it merchant fulfilled. So the time I save by using FBA, makes more sense to me than the money I make selling something that's small and lightweight merchant fulfilled. And then yes, if something is hazmat, you can sell that merchant fulfilled too. We've sold nail polish merchant fulfilled. We've sold other items that were deemed as hazmat that we didn't understand why they were hazmat. Maybe they were in hazmat review at the time, but we wanted to sell it quickly, so we sell those items as merchant fulfilled. So really good question. And if anyone doesn't know, if selling on FBA means that you send all your stuff to Amazon, and when it sells, they take care of shipping it. And merchant fulfilled is when you take care, keep all of the inventory, or keep some of your inventory at home or your place of business, and when it sells, you take care of the shipping. So it's fulfilled by merchant is merchant fulfilled, and fulfilled by Amazon is FBA. So, any tips for organizing large numbers of SKUs when creating shipments? So I'm gonna guess to see that this is what you mean. You're talking about you've got a large number of SKUs. Like maybe you're sending 100 different SKUs to Amazon, or are you talking about 100 of one SKU that you're sending to Amazon? Because there's different advice for both of those. Are you sending a whole bunch of different SKUs and you're talking about how to organize them during the shipment process, or how to organize them during sometime in the future? Like, how are you wanting to organize them, and what's your purpose behind that? Because I think there might be many different SKUs. Okay. Let's see. So when I'm entering in a lot of different SKUs, the way I organize it is I use Inventory Lab, and when I scan the item, I take my little barcode scanner and I scan the item, and beep, and it goes in, and Inventory Lab immediately tells me which warehouse it's going to go to. So I put it in a little pile on the floor with everything else going to that warehouse. And if Amazon tells me to put some in a different warehouse, I'll start a new pile for that different warehouse. And I'll have the different piles that are going, and Inventory Lab tells me, which items go to which warehouse. Sometimes if I've got 4 of something, it might tell me to put 2 to one and 2 to another. And, and so that's how I organize it. And then when I'm all done, I go find the boxes and I start putting all the stuff into the boxes to send out. How do you save on shipping by seller for small, heavy items? How can you save on shipping? By the best way to save on shipping is to send it to Amazon and have them ship it. That's the best way to do it. But if you're, and I don't know any other shortcuts for other than if it's a really heavy item, being able to find a flat rate box to ship something. If you're selling it merchant fulfilled, using a flat rate box where the weight in a regular box would cost you more, That's one of the only ways I can know to save on that. So, what is the one thing that you focus on to grow your business? Well, the answer that I have is going to be different than the answer you have, because there's a lot of different things that we all need to focus on, and the best thing to do is to find what that one thing is. Like for us, our one thing right now for our Amazon FBA business is wholesale. So I've gone through wholesale courses. I've gone through the process of reaching out to wholesalers. I'm in the process of emailing, going back and forth, contacting wholesalers. I am analyzing spreadsheets of wholesale catalogs of items that are profitable, and pretty soon I will get to the point where I'll be purchasing for wholesale. So we are doing all wholesale. Before we were doing wholesale, we were learning about online arbitrage. And so we read the book Online Arbitrage by Chris Green. You can find that fulltimefba.com/online arbitrage. And we read that book. We discussed it. We also went through a few other online arbitrage courses, and we downloaded special online arbitrage plugins for making things easier and saving time. And then before that, we were talking. We had different one things, but we didn't focus on we're not focusing on everything at once. We weren't trying to learn online arbitrage and wholesale at the same time. We wanted to focus on online arbitrage first, make sure we understood that, felt like we were confident. We got to the point where we felt like we were confident enough to teach someone else how to do it. Like right now, I don't feel like I'm confident enough to teach someone else how to do wholesale, but I'm going to get there soon. And you'll start seeing blog posts at fulltimefba.com on wholesale once we start seeing results from what we've been learning on wholesale. But follow one course until successful. That's the letters that spell out focus. FOCUS. Follow one course until successful. So find out what your next one thing is. It's going to be different for everybody. Some people are wanting to focus on just garage sales. Some people want to just focus on thrift stores. Some people are just like, I'm just going to retail arbitrage. I'm just going to do online arbitrage. Pros and cons of online arbitrage. Off the top of my head, the pros of online arbitrage is I get to stay home. I don't put 100 miles on my minivan by going out to look for things. Another pro is I spend less time on sourcing with online arbitrage. It takes more time to do retail arbitrage because you're going into the individual stores and you have you're just subject to whatever is in the retail stores to be able to find. But with online arbitrage, you can go to countless websites and have not unlimited number of products, but start searching for a lot of products. Another pro is that the stuff is delivered to you in boxes that you can then, after you take it out of the box, put a label on it for FBA, put it back in those boxes to send to FBA, so it saves us money on boxes. Some of the biggest cons of online arbitrage is that sometimes we order things and we get the wrong thing delivered, so we have to return that. Sometimes we'll order stuff and they look used. We ordered some shoes the other day, came in, and the shoes were all scuffed up, and we're like, someone's been walking around in these shoes, we can't sell these as new. Sometimes they ship us items in boxes that are damaged. The items inside are damaged too. And so, and then also we've tried to do online arbitrage with grocery, and we don't know what kind of expiration dates we're going to get. So there's those type of cons. And when it comes to online arbitrage, I really recommend Chris Green's book, Online Arbitrage. It's expensive. There's a color copy version of it. There's a black and white version, but it's like a textbook. It's like a college textbook. It's like a whole course in a book, and it breaks down everything, and it's fantastic. So, I believe. Let me see. I'm getting on my computer here, just to make sure I get all the right links that I give to you. So yeah, fulltimefba.com/online arbitrage takes you right to his book. I also seen some questions about book sourcing. Yeah, we have an independent contractor who we've hired and trained to go do book sourcing for us. There's plans in the future to possibly source other things, but we want to start out on books because I think books and toys are the best places to start, the best categories to start when you're learning Amazon FBA, when you're learning about sales rank, when you're learning about when you're learning about how the different categories, each category has a different personality. And there's some categories I'll buy in the top 1% and that's it. Some categories I'll buy in the top 5% and that's it. Some that maybe I might try to figure out what the 3% is and buy that. And so, yeah, we've hired somebody and trained somebody, and they go out and take care of our book sourcing. And we followed, I talked about Ryan Grant before about his online selling experiment website. He wrote a book called Outsourcing Sourcing, and it's all about how to find, train, and hire people to go out and do some of the sourcing for you. And we really highly recommend it. You can go to fulltimefba.com/outsourcing, and it will take you right to his book. It's really, really, really good. There's also a Udemy course, Online Arbitrage, that Chris Green. I'm not sure. I heard recently that he pulled it to maybe update it. I'm not sure exactly if he did that or not. So you'll have to check on that. So I just saw some questions kind of vanish, and I didn't get a chance to see them. So hopefully you copied and pasted, or you copied your question before you hit send, and so you can paste it again so that I can see that, because I don't want to miss any of your questions. And if you're like, oh, I forgot to copy, I'm sorry. I know it's kind of annoying, but I know sometimes I can't see them all. Outsourcing sourcing is about hiring people to source retail arbitrage and books, and so that's something that we recommend, and it really helped us out a lot. There's lots of stuff to learn, lots of stuff. How much can a novice expect to make per month? That working with puzzles. Love your articles. How do you check pieces? All right. I really believe that I can't give you a number on how much you can make per month with Amazon FBA, because it all comes down to how much you're willing to learn, how much you're willing to work, how much you're willing to be okay with failure every now and then, and learning from those mistakes. I was able to go from unemployed to making a full-time income to support myself and my boys in about 6 or 7 months. Now, I've always lived on a very tight budget, and I don't eat out all the time. So what my budget is to survive and stuff would be different from yours. But so I can't really tell you. But I do know that the more you learn and the more you put into action, and the harder that you work, the more you're going to be able to make. And then as you start to learn, you start to realize that you need to outsource. You need to hire other people to do the simple tasks that anybody can do. Things like sourcing, things like hiring a VA. We went through the course, VA for FBA. You can find out more about that, fulltimefba.com/VA. And let me double check to make sure. VA course, fulltimefba.com/VA course, and it's teaching us how to find a VA to take care of all of our Amazon back-end office work, to make sure that our reimbursements are taken care of. It's something that's it's something I'm looking forward to, not having to do that anymore. I saw a question a minute ago about puzzles, how to make sure that they're all there. Here's a quick tip. If obviously if it's still sealed, most likely it's in new condition. But there is one trick. If you find a puzzle that the ROI selling as used, or since it's a toy, it's really, you're selling it as collectible. But if the ROI makes it worth the time to put it together, I don't recommend putting the entire puzzle together, because that's you don't need to do that. There's a little shortcut. What you do is you pull out all the border pieces, and you put the border pieces together, and make sure that you have the complete border. And if you don't have the complete border, you don't have to worry about anything else. It's incomplete. But if you have the entire border of the puzzle completed, next what you do, and because most puzzles are like, they're like a grid, there's like rows and columns, and they're all even. What you can do is do some math and figure out how many pieces should fit in the middle of the puzzle. Because again, most puzzles are like they're like a hashtag, they're like columns and rows. And so you can kind of do some math and figure out how many pieces should be left over in the box. And then you go to the box and you count the rest of the pieces, and that's what it should be. Because, even if a puzzle says it has 500 pieces, they never have exactly 500. It could be 503. It could be 290. I mean, not 290. It could be 498. You want to make sure. So, and if you're not understanding what this stream is about, it's about questions and answers about making money on Amazon FBA. You can find out how to do that, fulltimefba.com. And I teach people how to turn part-time hours into a full-time income with Amazon FBA. How important are shipping settings? Shipping settings are important. You obviously want to make sure that every time you send a shipment to Amazon that you have your home address in there, unless you're not at home. If you're traveling, you're at a family's place, you're at a hotel, you want to make sure that you update that because you can save on shipping with that. If you accidentally one time, you're over at your mom's house and you put together a shipment and you send it out. If it happens once, it's not a huge deal, but if it becomes a pattern, then Amazon doesn't like that. You want to make sure that your shipping weight is correct, and then your dimensions. Right now, Amazon goes back and forth on whether or not they want you to enter dimensions. Sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. But the bottom line is this: when your boxes arrived at Amazon, they weigh it, they measure it, and they charge you exactly what their partnered rate is. So even though Amazon tells you when you're preparing a shipment, this shipment is going to cost $10.43. That's an approximation. You're actually going to get charged what it really is. Your weight might be off. You might have put in the wrong dimensions on accident. They make sure that they charge you what it really is. So it is important to do it because Amazon wants to know that you're doing everything on your end, and they'll see if they see that there's a big difference between, hey, this box is only 5 pounds and it's really like 20. They're going to see that you are trying to trick them, and they're going to ding you, and they might suspend your account. So you always want to make sure that whatever shipping settings you have set up are good. So, and then of course there's different shipping settings. Whether you're picking inventory placement, which means Amazon tries to send everything of the same ASIN to the same warehouse, and usually most of the things, unless it's oversized or clothing, will go to the same warehouse. Or you can have inventory placement turned off, and Amazon will just tell you wherever it wants you to send it. We have ours turned off. We don't see the need right now to have all of our items going to one warehouse to check in, because most of the time the items go from my house. If I'm using inventory placement, the items go from my house to a different warehouse where it's then distributed everywhere else. It goes to a distribution center. So that's something that you need to think about. If you do it the regular way, then the items that go to Amazon and get checked in and go live faster. But if you turn on inventory placement, most of the time they'll send it to a distribution center, which almost doubles the time that it takes for it to go live on Amazon. All right. How do I find a niche to do private label? That's a really good question. One of the things, like I told you right now, one of the things that we're focusing on right now is wholesale, and I feel like sometime in the future we might look into private label, but we have not done any type of private label experience. But one of the things that I think would be good to start with is to start with something that you know. Like if you enjoy cooking, if you enjoy working in the kitchen, see if there's a private label a tool or appliance or something that you can find to private label for a kitchen. Do something that you know and understand. I wouldn't try to do something that was somewhere off, because I think there's profitable private label items in every category. Everything I enjoy seems saturated. Okay, that's a good. I mean, that's a problem, and I understand that. And you want to be able to find something that really stands above. I haven't gone through the course, but I own the course. It's called Proven Private Label, and it's a course that's put together by those who put the Proven Amazon course together. You can find more about it at fulltimefba.com/proven-private-label. So it's Proven Private Label with the hyphens in between the words. And it's a comprehensive private label course. I made sure that I got that when it first came out, and to save it for later, so you can learn about that. How do I tell which warehouse an item shipped from for tax purposes? I've been selling for 4 months. For tax purposes, and with this question, because you're dealing with what's called nexus, and I really defer all of those questions to a website called taxjar.com, TAXJAR.com. There's certain states, from what I can tell, TaxJar says that for most people, they want to be able to make sure that they're paying taxes on the items that are being sold in their own state. And it's really a confusing subject, and it's something that I don't feel like I've got I've got ideas about what I think about this based on what I've read and what I've learned, but since I'm not a tax specialist or a tax attorney or a CPA or anything like that, I don't want to give you false information. So I'm sending you to the people who I trust, taxjar.com, and they've got tons of blog posts, and you can search the word nexus, Nexus, and you can learn more about that. All right, talk about using OA X-ray versus buying online arbitrage lists, because we do that. Okay, I'll get back to the board game question in a second. So yes, we've used both buying lists and using OA X-ray. For online arbitrage, we first started off using CyberMonkey deals, and it was about $50 a month, and we were able to choose. We want to get I can't remember if it was 10 or 20 items delivered to our inbox, or delivered to CyberMonkey Deals website in our account every day, but it all has to be in the top 3%. Excuse me, the top 3% of each category. And that reminds me of a question from earlier about categories, percentages, and stuff. If you go to fulltimefba.com/sales rank, I offer a free sales rank that you can download that gives you the top 1%, 5%, and 10% of each category, and it tells you, if it's in the top 1%, then those are the items that are selling the fastest. If it's in the top 5%, those items are selling fast too. The top 10%, those items aren't selling very fast, but they're still selling. So it's something to look into. Okay, so back to online arbitrage. We've bought lists. There are some lists that are great. There are some lists that are, not so great. My advice for you with buying online arbitrage lists is to see if they offer any type of free trial, 7-day free trial, 30-day free trial, some type of free trial so you can try it out and see if it works for you. I've heard some people rave about certain lists that we've experienced, and we're like, we really didn't like that one. I'm not going to tell you the ones I didn't like. I don't want to bash anybody, but I definitely will tell you the ones that we love. We love CyberMonkey Deals. It's been a big help for us. We've loved the it's called Your Sourced Inventory, and that's a clothing and shoes list, so you want to make sure you're ungated in clothing and shoes. And what's really good about it is it gives you a list of items. Now, not every one of them are going to be items worth buying. We might buy something, we might on one day get, say we get 10 items, we might be like, okay, today I'm just going to buy one of these. One of these I feel really good about. And sometimes we'll be like, I got 3 of them from the list today. And sometimes I'm like, you know what, there's nothing good that I really want to put my money into today. So it's not something that you should definitely buy, but it's something that, because everyone's different. Different people have different risk tolerance. Different people have different patience on how long they want to get their return on investment back. And so it's going to be different for everybody. We've really enjoyed all of these lists. But when it comes to OA X-ray is a completely different animal, because it's an extension, a Chrome extension, and there are certain websites, and you basically go to the sales page on the websites. You go and there's a whole list of, like you go to Target and you search, you can go and search toys, and then you go into toys and you click the button for OA X-ray, and it turns the whole list into the whole sales page with all the different items, into a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet is broken down into the Amazon page, or at least what they think is the Amazon page, the sales rank, the category, what the ROI is if you match the current buy box price, a lot of different stuff. And OA X-ray is very expensive, but everyone I've talked to love it. We're using it for our first month right now. We love it. We're not 100% sure if we're going to stick with it or not, but I'm leaning towards yes, sticking with it. So OA X-ray, it's expensive, but it's saved so much time, and it's really, really good. In fact, let me set up a quick link for you. I'm going to add a pretty link. I call it pretty link because they're quick and easy. If you go to fulltimefba.com/OA X-ray, then that will take you right to their website. Fulltimefba.com/OA X-ray, and it will be good. So I saw a question about board games, tips on selling board games. I wrote a whole book about selling board games, so I don't even know where to start on tips on selling used board games. You obviously want to make sure that that all the pieces are there. You don't ever want to sell an incomplete piece. You want to make sure that in your condition notes that you state exactly what is like. If there's one card that's bent, you write that in your condition notes. If you're like, I'm not 100% sure that all the money's there, but it looks like it's, you put all that in there. So you can find out more about my book, Reseller's Guide to Board Games, How to Turn Play Money into Real Money, fulltimefba.com/board games. But there's a lot of tips about selling used board games. There's some used board games that are worth more to break up into pieces and sell individually on eBay. That's something that you can do, because I know they sell on eBay because I've bought them on eBay. I've bought board games before that were used and missing pieces. I went to eBay and found the missing pieces to complete the set and sold it for really big money. We sell a lot of new board games. We sell some used board games, and we love that. And then the question about the lists versus OA X-ray, I think we're going to continue to use both, because another pro about using online arbitrage lists is that we're able to follow rabbit trails. It's like if it says this shirt in this size and this color is profitable, well, maybe this other shirt in the same size and color is good, or maybe a different size is and so it's like it opens up the world to just more possibilities, taking it a step further, realizing that the lists give you an idea, and you can follow rabbit trails and be like, oh, I'm looking on this website that's having this sale, and there's some other stuff that wasn't even on the list, but it's you see the part at the bottom of the sales page for certain items, like people who bought this also bought this. It's like, really? So I'll go check that one out and see if that one's a profit maker on Amazon. So a lot of different possibilities. Talk about buying board games on Craigslist. Yeah, we bought board games on Craigslist. You go to Craigslist and then type in board games. I've been able to find stacks of new board games, used board games on Craigslist. And so, yeah, I've been able to spend a lot of time, looking on Craigslist. There's Craigslist software out there that will, do the searching for you and then email you when things, pop up. So you can look up, do some Google searching for Craigslist programs, and then they'll do the searching for you. They'll go and you can type in keywords in your location, and anytime it pops up, it'll email you, and you can go look and try to see if you can make a deal with the seller. So, Nota Craig, that's the name of it. I was trying to remember. My wife is awesome. Her memory and brain is so much better than mine is. Nota Craig, NOTICRAIG.com. And that's really good. All right, any other questions? Let's see. Yeah, thrift stores are awesome for board games. I know some thrift stores will tape the games shut, which is good because it keeps all the pieces in, but you want to make sure that all the pieces are there. So you either ask them at the thrift store if you can return it if pieces are missing, or if they don't mind you opening up, peeling back the tape slowly to open up the box to make sure everything is in, and most of the time they're okay with that. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you like this video, I'd appreciate a little thumbs up below. That'd be really great. And if you have a question or comment, you can do that below too. And if you are looking for any of the links that we talked about during the video, you can find those in the description below. That will take you right to where you want to go. Be sure you subscribe to this channel to be sure you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. We add videos all the time. And if you want to learn more about turning part-time hours into a full-time income with Amazon FBA, please go to fulltimefba.com. We got over 100 blog posts full of tutorials and walkthroughs and experiments and all sorts of fun stuff that will help you make a full-time income on Amazon with just spending part-time hours. It's awesome. So you can also get 2 free PDF downloads that will help making selling on Amazon that much easier. So you can do that at fulltimefba.com. Be sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the good stuff we send out almost weekly. I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye.